Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Got a Story for You. I'm Phil Junta, your host, writer, and occasional story narrator on this channel. Happy holidays to everyone. I just wanted to bring you some end of year updates. There's been a flurry of activity since the last episode in October, not the least of which is some new awards that I've won for a couple of my novels. Let me just share this little image with you here. Pleased to report that my first paranormal mystery novel, Testing the Prisoner, has won two more awards since the October show. Um, just after I recorded the October show, it took second place in the horror category in the Pencraft End of Year Book Awards. Pencraft runs awards every season, so four times a year. And I believe what they do is they round up the winners each season and move them forward into the to compete in the end of year awards. And I'm proud to say that Testing the Prisoner took second place in the horror category after taking first place during the summer. Uh, in November, it then took second place in horror category again in the Independent Author Network Best Book of the Year award. So it was a finalist, as you can see there by the badge on the upper left. It was a finalist in the Ian Awards, Independent Author Network Awards, at the end of the year. So proud of both of those awards, and not to be left out. My new paranormal mystery novel that was just released in July, By Your Side. I'll share this other image with you quickly here. By Your Side took three awards in the Autumn Book Fest contest. And unlike Testing the Prisoner, which I submitted to the spring contest, but only into one category, Ghosts and Paranormal, it took second place. By Your Side, I decided to splurge a bit with this and submit it to three categories, just in the hopes that it would score in at least one. To my surprise, it placed in three categories, all three of them. First place in supernatural ghosts, second place horror, ghosts, paranormal, as you can see there on the screen, and third place in supernatural mystery. So between By Your Side and Testing the Prisoner, they won a total of 11 awards. I couldn't be more grateful or excited for it, especially in a very difficult year that I've had with health problems and the sudden death of my mother during the summer. It's been a year of challenges and of grief and of upheaval. So I leaned in to the writing side of my life for solace and creativity. And of course, the awards helped keep my state of mind and my spirits buoyant through a lot of difficult times, a lot of turbulent year this year. So very pleased and humbled by that. So that's it for that. Second thing I want to bring to your attention, I probably talked about this book before. I believe I did in the last two episodes in August and October. This is Ruth and Ann's Guide to Time Travel. This is an anthology of time travel stories published by Celestial Echo Press, owned by Ruth Littner and Anne Stalinsky, who are the editors of the book. This is volume one, which includes my story, A Thorn in Time, where a detective and a scientist go back in time in an attempt to stop a serial killer. But there are plenty of other wonderful stories in this book of various genres and themes, and this is just volume one. There's actually two volumes. They received so many incredible stories that they were able to do two volumes. This one was published in August, the second volume just last month in November. The weekend before Thanksgiving, Anne Stalinsky and about a dozen of the writers in this book, myself included, gathered at the Philadelphia Science Fiction Convention to properly launch the first volume. We had a wonderful book launch that included readings. The 12 of us or so, I think it was about 11 or 12 of us who were there, read the opening scenes to our stories. We signed probably 20 copies of the book and had a wonderful cake with the covers on the icing. And it was just a wonderful time to just get together with some writers, some of which I'd known, some of which I did not know, some of which I only knew through social media. So it was my first time meeting them. And it was just a wonderful event. And Anne did a wonderful job of organizing it. And it was just spectacular. And of course, the Philadelphia Science Fiction Convention, otherwise known as PhilCon, is always a good time anyway. And it's every November at the over in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. I'll include a link to PhilCon in the notes below this video. Second thing is, here we are in December, and it is time for the 8th annual Smashwords end of year ebook sale. And of course, let me just pull up something here for you to look at for that. A little screen here for you. Smashwords 2024 end of year sale. Thousands of ebook titles on sale from free up to whatever price that the publisher sets for it. But my ebooks, By Your Side and Testing the Prisoner, are $1.49 a piece. That's 50% off the cover, the ebook cover price of $3 or $2.99. They're $1.49 a piece from now, December 12th, as I record this, to the 1st of January. This is their 8th annual sale. And I participated in it last year with only one title. It's nice to have two titles out here now, By Your Side and Testing the Prisoner. $1.49 a piece in the 2024 end of year Smashwords ebook sale. There are thousands of other titles on sale as well. I'll have a link to that also in the notes below. So go ahead and check out some ebooks at wonderful prices while you can for the next couple of weeks. Okay. Last thing, or last two items to bring up to you, is just before PhilCon in November, a few days before that, I had a science fiction story that was accepted by a small press in Delaware called Oddity Prodigy Productions. I worked with Oddity Prodigy a couple of years ago, or 4 years ago already. Geez, where does the time go? On their first genre anthology called Scary Stuff. Scary Stuff was an homage to the old entertaining comics titles like Tales from the Crypt, Vault of Horror, Haunt of Fear. The whole anthology was geared towards stories of that nature. So I had a great time writing for that, wonderful time working with the team at Oddity Prodigy Productions. And they just last year, or was it earlier this year, actually, they released an urban fantasy anthology called Beneath the Yellow Lights. Unfortunately, I did not have an opportunity to submit anything to that because I was busy reissuing those novels I mentioned earlier. But I'm thrilled to be back with Oddity Prodigy again for their current anthology in progress called Bright Mirror. Bright Mirror is an anthology of utopian science fiction stories that will be published in the first quarter of next year and is currently being funded by a Kickstarter. The team has set a modest goal of $800. As you can see on the screen, they're already at 718, 2 days into the campaign. So they only need another $82 to meet their goal. There's a wonderful video here that you can watch from the editors of the book. And as you scroll down, you can see information about the campaign, a sneak peek of the cover in progress. I can't wait to see this cover in all of its spectacular glory when it's all finished. It's going to be great. You can also read excerpts from each of the writers' stories. Mine is called Isaac Gurie's Instant Utopia. It's actually a sequel to a story I wrote 10 years ago called Water to Share, and that was published in a book called Somewhere in the Middle of Eternity. This is a sequel to that. It has about 3 of the characters from that story returning for this one. And of course, there are wonderful rewards that you get for your pledges, books, prints of the artwork from the various books. You can get copies of all 3 anthologies at certain levels. So check out Bright Mirror if you're into science fiction, if you're a science fiction fan. And of course, we know that science fiction is replete with dystopian futures. Bright Mirror tries to bring out stories of more hopeful stories of humanity's future, and along the lines of Star Trek, along the lines of some of the more upbeat and positive science fiction stories out there. So it was certainly a joy to write for, and always a pleasure to work with the team at Oddity Prodigy Productions. So I will have a link to that in the notes below as well. So go ahead and check them out. And the last thing I have for you is the Right Stuff Writers Conference. The Right Stuff Writers Conference is organized by the Greater Lehigh Valley Writers Group, of which I have been a member since 2013, and I've been attending the conference every year since 2013. It is a wonderful writers conference. If you're a writer just starting off, or seasoned, or anywhere in between, this is the conference for you if you're anywhere near the Lehigh Valley, Allentown, Bethlehem, Easton, Pennsylvania, or thereabouts. The Right Stuff Writers Conference we bring in some of the best writers in the business as presenters and keynote speakers. We bring in agents for you to pitch your work, as well as editors. We have critique sessions during the conference. We have a social event on Friday night. It's just a glorious conference and a wonderful thing to be a part of. And I've presented there 2 or 3 times over the years. And even if I'm not presenting, I still have a table at the book fair at the end of the conference because I'm a member of the Lehigh Valley Writers Group. And I'm also pleased to report that another short story of mine was accepted. This one was a ghost story called Give Them Peace, and it's accepted by the Greater Lehigh Valley Writers Group for our next anthology in 2025 called Righting a Wrong. Our organization publishes an anthology every odd year. And that anthology contains stories, poems, and essays by our members. And each one has a different theme. And Righting a Wrong is next year's theme. Of course, we always pun off the word writing, WRITING, for all of our titles, such as we've had the right connections and we've had rites of passage, and always using the word WRITE in there somewhere. So Righting a Wrong will be this no different. It'll be the same thing. So that book will launch, as we always do traditionally at the Right Stuff Writers Conference. So check out the Right Stuff Writers Conference either using the QR code there on the screen or the link in the notes below. Those are all the updates I have. I think I covered everything. I covered the awards. I covered Ruth and Ann's Guide to Time Travel. I covered the Smashword sale, Bright Mirror, the next Right Stuff Writers Conference in March, as well as our next anthology, Righting a Wrong. So, as I said, a flurry of activity. There's been a lot going on, but it's been positive and wonderful, and I'm grateful for all of it. So, thanks for watching. Again, happy holidays. Be safe, have fun, and I'll see you next year.